Hello, it's me, Colton Johnson, with MD Popcorn Bucket Productions. I didn't think I'd have this next episode up so quickly, but here we are. And welcome back to my Harry Potter Rewatch series and book review. If you haven't yet, please go check out episode 1, where I did my review for both the book and the movie of Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. This series has been a blast so far, and it's kind of crazy because it kind of lines up with the whole Back to Hogwarts promotions going on. I feel like this time of year, there's always something Harry Potter related, whether that be an exhibit somewhere or Krispy Kreme releasing some donuts. I also started this whole journey again on July 31st, which is Harry's birthday and my anniversary. So that was kind of funny. Well, enough of that. Let's board the Hogwarts Express, or in our case, take the flying car and dive into Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. After the great success of the first novel, Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets was published in 1998. The story follows Harry's second year at Hogwarts, where a mysterious force begins petrifying students. Harry and his friends are drawn into uncovering the secrets of the legendary Chamber of Secrets and its connection to the heir of Slytherin. Now, to be honest, this isn't my favorite book in the series. I'd forgotten how overstuffed with exposition it is. And don't get me wrong, it isn't bad or terrible in any way. It's still a good book, but just not as strong as the others. And listening to the audiobook, I often found myself bored, especially through the first third. Maybe because the first book was so immersive and exciting, this one just felt a little weaker in comparison. I felt like it took half the book to actually dive into the heart of the story. Some twists were on the nose, like Lockhart being a charlatan the entire time. He's not really a villain, he's just kind of annoying. But enough complaining, because this book does have some wonderful elements. The trio are still a lot of fun. We get a deeper look into Draco Malfoy, and we meet his father for the first time. We're also introduced to Dobby, the house elf, who's a fantastic addition. I also came to appreciate Dumbledore a lot more in this book. And one of my favorite parts is learning more about Tom Riddle, who's revealed later to be Lord Voldemort. It brings everything full circle. Harry also has some significant character growth, which is great to see. So overall, yes, the book drags in places and is heavy with exposition, but it's balanced with flying cars, house elves, and giant spiders. So for me, the book lands at a 3.5 out of 5. Now, let's talk about the movie. With the success of the first film, Warner Brothers quickly greenlit an adaptation of Chamber of Secrets. Chris Columbus returned to direct, aiming for a slightly more mature tone while keeping it as faithful to the book as possible. And honestly, even with my criticisms of the book, I absolutely love the movie. The magic is still very much alive here. In fact, I think the film is stronger than the book and made me appreciate the source material more after rewatching it. There's something special about seeing the world brought to life in a film form rather than just the words, and that's the film lover in me speaking. The charm of the first film is still pretty much intact, but it's also a little more mature. The trio does offer great performances this time around with a stronger portrayal of their characters. We also get more Draco Malfoy, and one of my favorite scenes involves when they take the Polyjuice potion and turn into Crabbe and Goyle. I think it was brilliant, and I liked how it was done in this movie. The diary, the flashbacks are also great sequences too, and I loved how they portrayed it in the film. It was one of those things that, from the book perspective, it was interesting how they did show it off and introduce Tom Riddle in a very natural way. Kenneth Branagh is fantastic as Gilderoy Lockhart. So much fun, and fun fact, Hugh Grant almost had the role, which would have been pretty interesting and good, but Branagh still nailed it. Jason Isaacs is perfectly cast as Lucius Malfoy, and John Williams returned to compose the score, even while doing the score for Star Wars Episode 2. His contribution is here, and it's great. Now, the one drawback is the runtime. At 2 hours and 42 minutes, it's a long movie for a PG movie. You start to feel it towards the end as well. So the question is, how well was this book adapted into film? I honestly feel like this was probably one of the best adapted from the series. One, for improving on things from the book, omitting unnecessary scenes, and adding great elements to further the story along. The characters were adapted well, the story was great, and they kept a lot of the book intact. Did it lead to a very long movie? Yes it did. But it works. It also added a scene that wasn't in the book involving Harry and Lucius Malfoy, which was a lot of fun. Overall, even though it's not my favorite in the series, I would still say it's a great time, and I'd give it a 4 out of 5. So here are some of my hopes for the Harry Potter HBO series before I wrap up. I think it would be great if they included the Death Day party. That's a fun part of the book, though it doesn't really add anything except for introducing some more of the ghost characters, which, introducing Moaning Myrtle that early was good, but how they do it in the film still worked. I'd also love to see an expanded version of the flashback sequence with Tom Riddle, so I think that'd be cool. So what do you think about the Chamber of Secrets? Did you enjoy it? Or do you prefer the book over the film? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey, and stay tuned for episode 3, where we'll cover my favorite of the series. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share this video. Don't forget to check out my TikTok, Instagram, and Letterboxd. Links are in the description below. Have a magical day, and I'll see you next time. Bye!